There's a quiet strength in people who refuse to be disrespected, and it's not about being loud, aggressive, or confrontational. It starts with how you carry yourself. When you walk into a room, when you speak, when you hold your posture, you are sending a silent message to everyone around you about how you expect to be treated. If you don't respect yourself, no one else will. If you tolerate disrespect, it becomes the standard others will follow. You have to set the tone. Speak with clarity, not arrogance. Look people in the eye, not with intimidation, but with presence. Confidence is calm. It doesn't need to yell or dominate. It simply exists in a way that people feel it without you saying a word. The way you dress, the way you communicate, even the way you say no. These are all signals. People notice them. They decide based on those signals what they can and cannot get away with around you. The easiest way to invite disrespect is to chase approval. When you're desperate for everyone to like you, you'll bend your boundaries, you'll over-explain yourself, you'll say yes when you mean no. And then when someone crosses the line, you'll resent it, but you were the one who left the door open. So stop. Stop seeking validation from people who wouldn't even value it. Hold your boundaries without guilt. Affirm, I'm not okay with that, says more about your worth than 1,000 words trying to justify it. When someone tests you, and they will, don't react with anger, react with composure, because the truth is the loudest reaction is often the weakest one. True strength is quiet. It's in the way you don't let someone's behavior shake your self-control. You don't have to match their disrespect with disrespect. You simply remove your energy from the situation and they feel the weight of that loss. People also watch how you treat yourself. If you constantly put yourself last, if you tolerate things that make you feel small, if you let people interrupt you or dismiss you, they learn that it's acceptable to do the same. But when you consistently show up for yourself, when you keep your word to yourself, when you maintain your dignity, even when it's hard, you teach others that you're someone who deserves care and consideration. And don't confuse kindness with weakness. Be kind, yes. Be generous, yes, but never at the expense of your self-respect. Because when you do, the people who truly value you will stay, and the ones who only wanted to take advantage will leave. And that's the point. You don't want everyone. You want the right people. So here's the truth you teach people how to treat you. Every time you allow disrespect, every time you laugh it off, every time you say nothing when you should speak, you are teaching them. And every time you stand tall, speak clearly, and hold your line, you are teaching them too. Respect isn't demanded, it's cultivated. It's not about forcing anyone to see your worth. It's about living in a way that makes your worth undeniable. Would you like me to continue this speech with more examples and powerful emotional lines to reach around 1,000 words? Self-respect sets the standard people treat you based on how you treat yourself. So carry yourself with confidence and maintain strong personal boundaries. Stop seeking approval. Chasing validation makes you compromise your dignity and invites disrespect. Learn to say no without guilt. Respond with composure, not anger. True strength is calm. You don't need to react loudly or aggressively to earn respect. Teach people how to treat you. Your actions, words, and boundaries communicate what behavior you will and won't accept. Self-respect is the foundation of how the world sees you. Think about it. Every interaction you have sends a signal. If you speak with hesitation, if you downplay your worth, if you apologize for simply existing, people subconsciously register that you don't hold yourself in high regard. And when you don't value yourself, why should they? People are mirrors. They reflect back the level of respect you show yourself. Carrying yourself with confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing your own value and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. When you walk into a room with calm assurance, head up, shoulders back, eyes steady, you don't have to say a word. People feel it. It's an energy, a silent presence that communicates, I know who I am, and I won't allow anything less than respect. Maintaining personal boundaries is one of the clearest ways you teach others how to treat you. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They are the lines you draw that say, this is okay. That is not. When someone pushes those lines and you let it slide, even just once, you're showing them that your boundaries are negotiable. But when you calmly and consistently uphold them without anger, without over-explaining, send an unspoken message. I respect myself too much to allow this. It's easy to think that being agreeable will earn respect, but the opposite is true. When you try to please everyone, you lose yourself in the process. People don't respect endless yeases. They respect clarity. They respect someone who is kind but firm, someone who can disagree without hostility, someone who doesn't bend just to be liked. Saying no without guilt is one of the most powerful ways to honor yourself, and the right people will respect you more for it. Self-respect also shows in the little habits you keep, how you dress, how you speak, how you manage your time, even how you keep your promises to yourself. When you hold yourself to a certain standard, others naturally adjust theirs when they're around you. If you're careless with your own life, if you constantly break your word to yourself, let toxic behavior slide, or accept things that drain you, you're silently telling the world, I'm okay with this. But when you stay disciplined, when you treat your own life as valuable, people notice. Think about the people you respect the most. It's rarely because they demanded it. It's because of the way they live. They don't have to shout for attention. They simply embody a quiet strength. They're consistent. They're grounded. They don't need validation from everyone because they already have it from themselves. That's the energy that commands respect without a single word. It's also important to remember that self-respect doesn't mean being unkind or cold. True confidence is soft, not sharp. It's knowing your value without making anyone else feel small. You can be humble and still firm. You can be compassionate and still unwavering. When people see that balance, kindness rooted in strength, they naturally respond with admiration. The truth is, you set the standard for every relationship in your life. You're teaching people with every choice you make what's acceptable and what's not. If you don't show up for yourself, if you don't protect your energy, if you don't speak your truth, someone else will fill that space with their own agenda. But when you honor yourself first, you create a filter. The ones who can't meet you at that level will fall away, and the ones who truly respect you will stay. Self-respect is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It's in the way you talk to yourself. It's in the way you refuse to settle for less than what aligns with your values. It's in the way you let go of what doesn't serve you, even when it's uncomfortable. And as you live from that place, the world shifts around you. People rise to meet your standard, or they remove themselves from your space. Either way, you win. So remember this, you don't earn respect by demanding it. Earn it by embodying it. And it always starts with how you see yourself. There is nothing more exhausting than living for someone else's approval. When you constantly worry about what people think, you hand over your power. You let their opinions dictate your worth, and in doing so, you begin to shrink yourself just to fit their expectations. You smile when you don't feel like smiling. You agree when your heart is screaming to say no. Bend and twist yourself into shapes that feel unnatural, hoping someone will finally say, "You're enough." But here's the truth. Approval is a moving target. The moment you meet one person's expectations, another person will have a new set of demands. You will never win that game. Chasing validation is like drinking salt water. It feels satisfying for a moment, but only leaves you more empty and more thirsty. And the more you chase it, the more you teach people that your boundaries are flexible, that your needs don't matter, that you're willing to sacrifice yourself just to keep their approval. That's when disrespect creeps in, not always in obvious ways. Sometimes it's subtle. Someone interrupts you because they know you won't speak up. Someone takes advantage of your time because you won't say no, and dismisses your feelings because you've shown them you'll accept it. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens little by little until one day you don't recognize yourself anymore. Learning to stop seeking approval is not about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming whole. It's about realizing that the validation you keep looking for outside is something you can give yourself. When you know who you are, when you're grounded in your values, you don't need everyone to agree with you. Some people won't like you, and that's okay. Their opinion doesn't lower your worth. One of the most powerful tools you can use to break free from approval seeking is the simple word no. Not no, I'm sorry. Not no, unless it's okay with you. Just no. A clear, calm, unapologetic no. Saying no without guilt is a sign that you respect your own time, energy, and well-being. It shows that you're not afraid of losing someone's temporary approval to protect your long-term self-respect. Think about this. The people who truly value you will respect your no. They may not always like it, but they will understand it. The ones who only liked you because you always said yes were never really respecting you in the first place. They were respecting what you gave them. When you start setting limits, you'll lose some people. But those are the ones who were only there for what they could take, not for who you really are. Approval seeking also makes you afraid of standing out. You play it safe. You stay silent when you want to speak. Dim your own light because you're afraid it will make someone uncomfortable. But the irony is that people don't truly respect those who try to blend in. They respect those who are unafraid to be authentic. When you live in alignment with your truth, even when it's not popular, you inspire others to do the same. And remember, confidence doesn't come from everyone liking you. It comes from liking yourself. It's knowing that you're not perfect, but you're still worthy. It's knowing that your value isn't determined by applause, compliments, or external praise. When you build that kind of inner validation, you become untouchable. Someone can disapprove of you, criticize you, misunderstand you, and you'll still remain steady because you know who you are. Breaking the habit of seeking approval is a process. It means noticing when you're saying yes out of fear instead of choice. It means pausing before you agree to something and asking, is this true to me? Or am I just afraid of what they'll think if I say no? It means slowly retraining yourself to tolerate the discomfort of disappointing people. And yes, at first it will feel uncomfortable, but with every step, you'll feel a little freer, a little lighter, a little stronger. When you stop living for approval, you start living for peace. You stop chasing acceptance and start attracting respect. You stop compromising your dignity for temporary validation, and you start building a life that actually feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. So stop apologizing for saying no. Stop betraying yourself to keep someone else comfortable. Stop looking outward for something that was always meant to come from within. The moment you let go of the need to be approved, you gain something far more valuable, your self-respect. When someone disrespects you, the natural reaction is to fight back, to raise your voice, to prove that you won't be walked over. But loudness is not the same as strength. Anger often feels powerful in the moment, but it's really just a loss of control. And when you lose control, you lose respect, not just from others, but from yourself. True strength is calm. It's the ability to stay grounded when someone else is trying to shake you. It's choosing not to match their chaos with more chaos. When you respond with composure, you create a powerful contrast. They're loud, you're steady. They're emotional, you're rational. And people always notice the one who remains centered while everything else feels unbalanced. There's a reason calm people are often the most respected in the room. They don't need to shout to be heard. Their words carry weight because they are measured, intentional, and rooted in self-control. When you speak from a calm place, people actually listen. But when you lash out in anger, the message gets lost. All anyone remembers is the outburst, not the point you were trying to make. Composure doesn't mean you allow disrespect to go unchecked. It doesn't mean you stay silent when someone crosses the line. It means you respond with clarity instead of reaction. You can say, I'm not okay with how you're speaking to me, in a calm tone, and it will hit harder than any scream. You can walk away from a situation instead of escalating it, and that simple act of restraint shows more power than an argument ever could. Think about it this way: anger is someone else controlling you. If they can provoke you, they own your emotions in that moment. But when you refuse to be triggered, you take back your power. You show that their behavior cannot dictate your state of mind. That's real dominance, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. There's also an unspoken confidence in staying calm. People who overreact are usually insecure. They feel they need to prove themselves to defend their ego. But someone who knows their worth doesn't need to prove anything. They know who they are, and no insult or disrespect can shake that. It's like trying to throw a rock at a mountain. The mountain doesn't move. Responding with composure also gives you time to think. Anger clouds your judgment. It makes you say things you regret, do things that make the situation worse, and give away your dignity in the process. But when you take a breath before you respond, when you pause to choose your words, you remain in control, and control is everything. It's also important to remember that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Not every battle is worth fighting. Some people thrive on drama. They want to pull you into their storm. But when you stay calm, when you simply refuse to engage, they lose their power. Silence can be louder than any argument because it shows you're above their level. The people who truly respect you are the ones who notice your composure. They see that you don't let emotions dictate your behavior. They see that you can disagree without being disrespectful. They see that you can stand firm without being aggressive. That balance, firmness with grace, is what earns lasting respect. And yes, there will be moments when it's hard, moments when your pride wants to snap back, moments when every part of you wants to shout, to defend yourself, to strike back. But in those moments, ask yourself, will this reaction make me feel proud later, or will it leave me feeling empty? Almost always, calm dignity wins. So don't mistake quiet for weakness. Don't confuse composure with passivity. It takes far more strength to stay calm in the face of disrespect than it does to explode in anger. Anyone can react. Few can stay composed. And the few who do, they are the ones who are truly respected. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly teaching people how to treat you. Every interaction, every reaction, every boundary or lack of one sends a silent message about what is acceptable in your life. If you tolerate disrespect, you're saying it's allowed. If you ignore your own needs to please others, you're showing them that your comfort doesn't matter. But when you stand firm, when you consistently honor yourself, you create a standard, and people will either rise to meet it or remove themselves from your space. It starts with your own behavior. People pay attention to how you treat yourself. If you constantly put yourself down, they will feel free to do the same. If you let self-care slide and prioritize everyone else, they'll assume their time and needs are always more important than yours. But when you take care of your well-being, when you speak kindly to yourself, when you hold your own commitments sacred, silently demand that others respect you the same way, your words matter too. The way you speak communicates your self-worth. If you over-apologize for everything, if you say things like, "I'm sorry to bother you," or "It's probably not a big deal," you're minimizing yourself. Confident people don't apologize for existing. They don't apologize for expressing their needs. A simple, direct statement like, "I can't do that," or "That doesn't work for me," carries more power than a long, nervous explanation. Boundaries are where teaching truly begins. A boundary is simply a clear line that defines what you will and won't accept. And here's the truth: people will test those lines, not because they're all malicious, but because everyone operates from their own habits and expectations. When someone crosses a line and you let it slide, you're teaching them it wasn't really a line at all. But when you calmly reinforce it every time, you're teaching them that your boundaries are real and non-negotiable. It's not about being harsh or rude. It's about being consistent. For example, if someone speaks to you in a disrespectful tone, you don't have to shout back. You can calmly say, "I'm not okay with being spoken to that way," and then remove yourself if it continues. Over time, people learn with you that behavior doesn't work. The mistake many people make is assuming that others should just know how to treat them. But the truth is, no one is a mind reader. If you don't communicate your standards through your actions, your words, and your reactions, people will fill in the blanks with their own assumptions. And if their assumptions benefit them at your expense, they'll keep repeating the behavior until you show them otherwise. Teaching people how to treat you also means living in alignment with your own values. If you say you value honesty, but you tolerate lies, you're sending mixed signals. If you say you value respect, but you laugh off insults, you're lowering the bar. People will always take cues from what you do, not just what you say. Consistency between your words and actions is what makes your standards clear and undeniable. And remember, not everyone will like the boundaries you set. Some people will push back, some will leave, and that's okay. In fact, that's necessary because the people who truly belong in your life won't be threatened by your self-respect. They'll appreciate it. They'll respect it. They'll meet you at that higher level because they want a relationship built on mutual care, not convenience. So you have a choice every day. You can teach people that it's okay to overstep, to take advantage, to dismiss your worth. Or you can teach them that you are someone who values yourself, someone who will walk away from anything that doesn't align with that value. And the way you teach is simple through your boundaries, through your consistency, and through the example of how you treat yourself. When you set that standard and live it without wavering, the wrong people will leave and the right ones will stay and rise with you. That is how you build relationships rooted in genuine respect. At the end of the day, respect isn't something you beg for, and it's not something you demand. It's something you cultivate through the way you live, the way you carry yourself, and the way you honor your own worth. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, when you stop chasing approval, when you stay calm under pressure, when you set clear boundaries, you create a life where disrespect simply has no place to grow. The truth is, you're not responsible for how everyone sees you, but you are responsible for how you see yourself. And when you see yourself as someone worthy of respect, the world will feel it. You won't need to shout. You won't need to prove anything. You'll just embody it quietly, consistently, unshakably. So start today. Start with the way you speak to yourself. Start with the way you respond to what doesn't align with your values. Start with one boundary, one calm response, one unapologetic no. Piece by piece, you'll build a version of yourself that no one can disrespect because you've already set the tone. Remember, the way others treat you is a reflection of what you allow. Teach them well.